now, 6 p.m. Thursday, July the 18th, 2024. I call to order the City Council Planning Workshop. And looks like everyone is here. And I don't have any citizen comment period stuff, so moving into action item A. Budget workshop review and discussion of 2024-2025 proposed budget continuation.
As housekeeping, as some of you have in front of you, this is an updated 5-year CIP. We actually made that minute updated, so you wonder what you have, that's what this document is that you have, so you have this updated one. Tonight we have this report, police department, fire department, planning, public works, and data and IT. So first one up, and this report.
For those who don't know, Kenna, this is Kenna Nowak, she's my board administrator.
I guess we started off, how many salaries?
3 full-time.
Yes.
I'm just gonna assume everything's full-time unless y'all specify anything's part-time. And there's no salaries that are split between departments?
No.
Okay.
6105, we're not budgeting any overtime.
No.
It's not.
Kenna's salary, and the other two are hourly, so, no, there shouldn't be. Yes.
How many full-time?
3.
Either hourly?
Kenna is salary, and the other two are hourly.
We're doubling, 6,400 travel and meals. Is that due
No,
to
we're not.
training?
We're not doubling, we added $400.
Oh, total budget, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was looking at year.
And I may have asked, but none of yours comes out of this line.
not at all.
Merchant fees, what does that entail?
Credit card fees, the merchant?
Is that the one where we pay, do we get reimbursed?
That's the 3% that's charged to the customer, and then she files it as a revenue. So it washes out. But we have to budget for it.
What is 6453 other services for?
That is for jury fees to pay jurors.
And leases and rentals, I'm assuming that's rent.
That is the postage machine.
Oh, okay.
And that's the PD and the court, they all use the postage machine in the court office.
So is that split between both departments?
No, it just all comes,
Or is it in the same
Yeah.
department? Okay.
so you won't see it in theirs.
So, cause I seen that last, day before, yesterday, somewhere. How many of these? Wait, hang on a second. Okay, I get it. Never mind.
And, the contracted services, 6411,
Judges. Judge Connor is not
employee.
an employee,
Okay.
he's contracted.
Okay.
And then our backup judge, we budget a little bit for him as well. For when Judge Connor can't be there, we pay him as well.
Who we got back?
Very Grace.
No,
Yeah.
He's in fifties.
no, I meant
No,
the
Barry's-
previous.
Barry's in his 60s.
Oh, is he? Okay.
School.
Sorry.
that compliment.
No, she's saying he was the previous judge.
Judge.
No, he is JP, yes.
Yes, he was JP. Yeah, but
Wilbur
he's,
is now.
yeah, he's only been our, associate judge.
I think he's
back in date now. Okay, never mind.
You done lied. You have nothing to say.
I can make it.
All right. Are we also covering the municipal court building fund? as well?
I'm just gonna say, no, we have to budget something, but this is a fund, the building security fund and the technology fund that can only be used, by the court. So we kind of just budget the same amount every year, but if something happened and we needed, something out of that, then we could, utilize the whole fund.
What would cause you to use it versus not? What, like an example of why would you use this?
Why would I use it?
Why would you use the building fund?
Well, when we bought our, the thing you walk through that beeps, yes, that, we purchased that out of that fund.
Okay.
So it can only be used for certain things.
What, the travel, meals, and education training, what's the difference between that and the building fund and the?
So for that, there is a certain conference that we can go to, and they specifically hold a 2-hour, building security session that allows us to use that fund to be able to attend that conference.
And which, jumping back to 6401, what training are we using for that?
For that one, that is for all 3 clerks and both judges to attend their annual, regional conferences that they have to attend.
Okay.
So that's for, that line item is for 5 people.
So the 6400 and 6401 is for 5?
Correct.
Okay. And how many does, 6400 and 6401 on under building court, how many is that covering by?
No, that's just 2, but we just, like I said, we generally just, these numbers have just been in there. They've always budgeted something, we haven't adjusted them. So, these are not necessarily things that we always use, because they can only be used for the court.
Yeah, because, I mean, I see 22, 23, we had total activity of 1,600, and then we budgeted 2,900 and only used $633 of it. And then we're budgeting another 2,900. Are we expecting to use more than 600 this year?
We may.
I'm assuming the equipment and safety, that's the metal detector, things like that. Okay.
I know you mentioned this, and I just can't wrap my head around it. So you got the municipal court funeral fund for the 6,400, and then you have the municipal court building fund, 6,400. The travel part of it,
The travel can be covered under that as well.
well, why is it under the municipal,
Because those are for different conferences. This one specifically deals with building security, so we can use it for that one. I wouldn't want to take it out of general fund
right, I'm just saying,
when I had an option to pay for it otherwise.
4,400 and another 2,900, I was trying to figure out.
So on the technology fund,
Same thing. Now, there's not necessarily a conference that we use that for, but if there was a conference that held, INCO conference, for instance, for software. If we wanted to attend that conference, we could use this fund to pay for it versus using our general fund.
I'm gonna quote Sarah from last week. I'm not mad about it, but I see that 2022-23 travel and meals for technology fund was 1,148, and then we budgeted 200, so we were over. And then the next year was 800 with a projection of 800, and now we're still only budgeting 200. Is that, are we having a reduction in travel and things like that this year?
Like I said, is it a placeholder? Because it can only use it, the only people that can use this fund is the court ladies. So this is just a placeholder to have money in there just in case you need it. Doesn't necessarily mean that she's gonna go spend it. As you can tell, she's not spending just the money willy-nilly because, you know, year-to-date activity, she hasn't spent it. It's just there for.
Well, what I'm talking about is 6,400 under the technology fund. We consistently keep budgeting $200, but we're consistently going over it by hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. But we can,
So where's
so
that?
we can do a budget transfer between line items.
Okay,
What we're saying is, why don't we raise that up instead of leaving it at 200? Go ahead and raise that amount since we always go over. So don't just put 200 if you know that we've been going to 800. Go ahead and move that number up if possible. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just go ahead and move it up.
We'll talk.
Yeah,
And then-
I would say go ahead and just put it like.
Is that really a suggestion?
Huh?
You want to increase that line item?
Now I'm just trying to figure out where the money's coming from that we keep going over every year. And how we're getting from 200 to 1,100 every year. Because if we're only budgeting 200 and we're going way over that, where's the overage coming from?
She's taking from another line item.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because year-to-date activity for 22-23 is 2,741. We budgeted 6,500 in for this fiscal year. So she budgeted the same amount
I
last
don't
year.
think we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm under technology fund.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, I am
Yeah, she
under
is.
technology.
The total amount is 6,500 something.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I can do that, it's fine.
Makes sense, just go ahead and do that, and then it's in.
But are you gonna decrease another line item?
We gotta make sure whatever we do, we keep it in line, so we have funds in that.
It's kind of like a little slush fund if you come over.
Yeah, and she's not going over
We're
her
gonna
line.
do that one over.
Are we not on the computer equipment and stuff for this, or is that not coming out of James's budget?
So,
Is that why it's only $9?
well, again, if we need something that's, like, we just got scanners, desk scanners for them, we use this fund. So it did not come out of IT fund, because that is specifically what this fund is for. So currently in the technology fund, we have a little over $38,000. Currently in the building security fund, we have a little over $60,000.
So let's start out by explaining where these funds come from.
So it's required by law to add certain fines and fees to citations. So every citation that's paid, there is a court cost that's added, and these are part of that court cost. So these all come from court fines that's required for us to collect, and it can only be used for certain things by the court or the court staff.
It's like hot money, but for tickets?
You got it.
Yes.
Exactly. That's why I thought it would be best that she explained where it's coming from, so everybody would know. That's something everybody would just know.
This is not general fund.
That is right, exactly.
So where does it go if there's anything left?
It stays in
accrues.
that
It accrues.
fund. It's a
Oh,
special revenue fund, you can't touch it.
Unless you use it for certain items.
so do they have like a lot of money in there?
That's what she was giving the totals. for.
Yeah, so that explains why, that explains computer hardware at 2,700, we have 0
Yeah.
for the year.
So building security, we have a little over 60,000, technology fund, a little over 38,000. So generally, we don't necessarily, I don't even look at the budgeted items. It's whatever was budgeted last year, that just what stays there. We don't use it a lot. And when we do, tell you the truth, I'm not looking at the budget. I'm looking to see, okay, how much money do I have in there? What do we need to spend? What can I use this fund to pay for it versus using the general fund? Our filing cabinets, they're fireproof with locks on them. Because of that, we can use the building security fund to purchase those filing cabinets. So.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Who's the clerk? Police department.
We need the popo.
No questions, thank you.
That was the easiest meeting you've ever been to.
No, we're cutting across the board on that one.
35%.
We already did that for you.
35%.
I'm done, I'm done.
Good answer.
Save you some time.
First question, how many salaries do we have?
We have 20 commissioned officers, 1 admin, 5 full-time dispatch, 2 part-time dispatch, 2 ACOs, so 28 officers.
So,
FTEs,
And control.
they're all full-time.
2 part-time dispatchers.
Is that part of that 28 or outside the
I'm sorry, one more time on all the, how many employees you have?
Okay,
26 full-time and 28 and 2 part-time?
20 commissioned officers.
No. 26 full-time
Yes,
and 2 part-time.
yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. I'm having to listen and read my notes sometimes.
Thank you, stop talking.
Twenty commissioners.
Yes.
26 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees.
Of those 26,
Of
Of
the
the
28, of the whole 28.
I mean, I missed that, because you're way down there.
So
Yeah.
26 officers are full-time employees,
Okay.
2 part-time dispatchers, and then there's also 2 ACOs. So total in our whole department, 28.
My math ain't math.
Who's the matter?
Hey,
Why is your background in?
with the wages,
Yes,
is that accounting for a projection of hiring some more people?
so what we did was we tried to figure out a way to hire 2 full-time officers and 3 full-time dispatchers. It was just gonna be too much money, we don't have the funds to do that. So what we did, we cut it back to 2 full-time officers and 1 full-time dispatcher. Okay, so 2 officers, 1 dispatcher, and that 1 dispatcher will allow us to have now 6 dispatchers and 2 part-time. So that will give us an opportunity to have a day shift person, a night shift person, and a person working a split. So our busiest times during the day are from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And that we will have 2 people there during that time. Also, my admin assistant, Jackie, has now obtained her dispatch license, and she is there during the day also, is able to help out, and has actually been up there a lot helping out, so.
All right, with that said, going back to the salary and wages, is that the 20 plus whatever you have right now, including 2 more in the dispatcher?
Leslie?
Yes.
Thank you.
I budgeted for 2 officers and 1 dispatcher, and they're with the 3%.
That, you're saying for the projected for this coming year?
Yes.
Yes.
That is 2 officers, 1 dispatcher. And a 3% step.
Those motorcycle cops.
No.
If you'll turn to the back page, it looks like this.
Well, you gonna ask that question.
I got to. have
What
to.
is with you and these
I know, you
birds?
gotta get out, you gotta get to the point
I wanna.
He wants me and Shane to be in the sidecar.
That's right,
Oh.
exactly. Patrolling on 90.
This ain't chips.
Last year, you guys spent almost, well, just over 15,000 on uniforms. Are y'all not buying that many this year?
No, sir. We bought some outer carrier vests last year, and then replaced some bulletproof vests that expire every 5 years. So we ended up spending a little bit more this last year. We won't have to do that because they are good for 5 years. So typically we'll just figure like one set of uniforms per officer. Because they usually last a pretty good time, and I'm pretty hard on not letting them buy anything unless they can bring me a damaged uniform in there first.
Did we get that grant for the bulletproof vest yet?
We get reimbursed half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vehicles,
That's what I was just looking at.
Which one?
well, it's flatline, and I know that you probably need vehicles. That would be 6609.
Yes.
Which one, 6609?
Yeah.
Okay. So last year, we bought 2 vehicles. We just honestly don't have the money to buy 2 vehicles this year, but we did put in for a grant. I'm still waiting to hear back from that. If we get that grant, then that will buy us 2 vehicles this year. I won't know probably for another couple of months if we got that grant or not.
Is it a matching funds grant?
No,
Okay.
no, it's 100% funded, so if we do get it, we'll be buying 2 with that money.
So what do you do, because I know you got those old Fords that you're trying to eliminate.
Run them in the ground.
Wheels fall off.
Okay,
Or do they fall off?
okay.
We replaced a lot of the older Fords, so the ones that we left in service are still usable right now. We are running them, pretty hard, but, we're gonna run them till we can't run them anymore.
So do y'all have a way to resell those vehicles?
Typically, by the time we, get done with them, we take everything that's usable off there. So like, in other words, we have a sale coming up this summer, sometime this summer, right, Keith? It's a surplus sale, and we'll put those vehicles in there. Most of them don't bring much. A couple of them are actually wrecked. So they're probably, run them across the scale, you get the money you would at an auction. But we salvage anything that's usable off of them, leave it at the shop so we can use those parts on something else breaks. So,
Cannibalize them.
yeah, as a matter of fact, they're at the shop over there. If you want to look at them, there's not much left. We even pull a good tire shop.
So I take that RDM vehicle, y'all moved all that over to, Ron's lineup. I mean, you did it last year, but I mean, it stayed that way.
6453 other services.
That is a jail bill. So we get billed from Liberty County Sheriff's Office for housing any Class C inmates that they do take over there, which is not very often. But every once in a while, we'll have somebody with higher charges, like say a Class B misdemeanor or above. It also has Class C, and they'll charge us $50 a day for them to lay out that fine over there. We really cut it because we're not spending that much out of it, but I don't really know what could change this year. They might start housing some inmates, and so I did cut it from 8 to 5.
Liberty may start building a new jail.
Well, I hope they do. Y'all may know they do that.
It ain't looking good, I can tell you.
I look good.
The other services.
And then other professional services, just training.
That'd be like drug screens and physicals for, new hires, psych evals if they had a lapse in service, or they just got out of the academy, they have to have a psych eval for it. Kind of work.
So that would be a different, background check than what Tammy had in her budget last night?
Yes.
And then, safety equipment in, 6612? Or not?
That's a cap
Okay.
line. We haven't had anything in there in the last couple of years.
That was the, vehicle that we had in the bond.
Oh, okay. All right. Animal control, how many salaries are under animal control?
Two. We might want to simplify this, two.
Two.
That's it. You have
Those two and 29. What's the
And we're not looking to take on any more animal control officers?
No, they're not right now.
Okay. Um, 6348, other supplies, I'm assuming that's,
That will be dog food, cargo test, sedation, any kind of medical stuff they have out there.
I see on, 6401, education and training went up on the budget on that one.
So, I'm sorry, did you say it went up?
Yes.
Oh, yes, it did, I'm sorry, I couldn't read it. Yes, they were not able to locate a class this year, they were trying to get something local, and couldn't get one. Would think that the ones, their classes are always a long way away, so it's usually like, like, what was the one, they had to go to like, South Texas or something?
There was one in Far, Texas, and the other ones are located in Dallas. Typically, we try to host enough people here, we'll get a few free slots out of the class, but their instructor that we normally go to for that canceled, so we're gonna have to send them somewhere else to take it this year.
and that would be the reason for the increase in crowd.
Yeah, I just don't know, if they have to go further.
And their trucks and vehicles are okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 6512, other? It doesn't look like we have anything in there. I guess we're moving stuff out of there.
So what that was, it apparently had always been in there, so repairs and maintenance. They really moved that over to Leslie and I think we and Kim sat down and talked about this. We didn't ever really end up using it, so I think they moved that over to facility maintenance, isn't that right, Leslie?
The last one, 6512.
We moved it to contracted services, just in case we, need it for the animal shelter.
Where did you move it?
To contracted services, see how it's.
Oh, you moved $1,000.
Yeah, I moved it from there to contracted services, just in case we use it for the animal shelter, I mean,
Okay, well, because I was under the impression that that was for, so part of the pound inspection comes out of there too, so it has that.
You never visited years, previous years, we didn't have anything in it on it.
Because I don't think they were charging.
We used a different veterinary service, Dr. Hall, can't go out and do that. So we had to move to a different vet, and different vets charge for it a lot.
I still think we're okay.
it's fine, I can
Yeah,
put it back.
I think we're okay.
All right,
Yeah, I think we're good.
Good.
Fire department.
Mr. Gore.
lot of reduction in their budget.
3.5 million because we're all full-time.
You only have one.
I said 3.5 million because we're all full-time.
Right. You know what, John, let me tell you something, we did something in here that you're gonna see. And I'm gonna go down just so we can talk about what we did in 6411. If you notice in 6411, we put 25,000 in that. What we're trying to do with that 25,000 is to motivate, our volunteers to come in. I've been speaking with them because at times, especially when they work, shift work, sometimes it's difficult to get enough firemen here to put out a fire. That's what we've had police assist on occasion, to pay them when they come in for a call. What was that dollar amount? Was $10? They said that's the normal rate, that both volunteer departments pay. And they said it actually worked in getting people to come in on a call. So you would pay them $10 a call.
The increase on 6353. Is this
That's the ADA model, the airpack model.
this is something that's not gonna happen every year or what?
We have several that's gonna be expired, just to be able to.
A one-time, okay.
That's SCBA's.
Yes, sir. The SCBA model is going there.
So the increase was 60.
The last time you purchased any was in 2020.
Okay. How long are they good for before they expire?
It is 10 years.
They'll have another group.
Will this cover replacement?
28.
Oh, okay, so
They're tiered,
It's about half and half.
It's about half.
okay.
ballpark, how many bottles are you replacing?
We,
Right now.
27, 25.
25.
We have 43 bottles total. So,
So with the mask from the SCBA models, do each one of your volunteers have their own, or are they sharing those?
they're sharing that in all the trucks.
How many volunteers you have?
32.
6611. Did we move that somewhere?
That's,
Machinery and heavy equipment?
yeah, but,
What's that?
They got a trailer last year.
the 6454 other professional services, what does that cover?
What was the number?
6454?
Let's see, it covers the chief's monthly pay, air compressor checks, our annual pump tests, annual air test for our ladder trucks, the inspections of for our jaws and, spreader equipment, and hose testing.
On your volunteer, do we pay for their certifications, or is there any kind of training and things that they need to go through that we take care of?
Yes, there's few that we do, like our annual deal over here at Fire School and Livingston, that we pay for
The fire department.
the fire department, not the city, not the city.
And that's covered under 6401?
No, they got their own line,
Oh,
So what is our 6401, the education training that the city pays for?
That's probably, for the school, to go with the school.
Oh, that's the fire prevention.
Fire prevention.
Is for the school.
And fire prevention.
The fire prevention is for- That's about a week long.
No, they pay for that themselves.
Oh, so it's not in the budget, okay. Is there the 6313? We have a reduction, is there some equipment that we're not buying this year that we don't have to, or?
This is, communication.
6313, we have in there so far is the radio mic, 3475, 2,475 for radio mics.
Yeah, I'm saying it went down from last year, so is there something we're not purchasing this year that we purchased in the past?
I think y'all got a bunch of new.
We got a bunch of new radios. so-
Okay, okay, okay.
I'm good with that.
Mr. Davis,
Yes, sir.
Are you hiring somebody?
I would love to.
I see an increase in salaries and wages.
That increase is going from, talking about 390 to 402.
Yeah.
I believe that's,
Oh, that's right. So about that.
how many
employees?
I was doing math and I
Did
didn't.
it include yourself?
yes. 26.
Yeah. I forgot about putting the 3%. I was doing my calculations. Thanks.
6116, other pay?
Yes, so that is gonna be, phone allowances, auto allowances, what's it,
I'm assuming that the line item 6312 for the filing fees is increased because of the increase in development coming through your department?
That is correct. So we are required to actually file with the county the flats for development. So each individual lot or each development flats a lot. So as that comes in, we have to pay project for that.
And do, Leslie, do they pay us that would come back in as revenue on that?
Yes, and yeah, that's recorded in the revenue,
Yes.
in the general fund, yes.
Okay.
But anything that I have to file to comes out of this line.
Okay.
What about 6348? There's a significant increase. What is that for?
It is for the, so as you know, we started doing private advice in a significant fashion. We're gonna purchase barricades, for that currently we're renting them. So we're gonna, ask to, increase the budget line item so we can actually buy them.
So it's cheaper, it's gonna, okay.
And we'll use those for more than just Friday Night Light.
Yeah.
Oh.
Off-road.
I know we were talking about the one from TxDOT that we were able to get.
Thank you. Oh, that's a different job.
Those are gonna be permanent ones.
Isn't that permanent, because you want the.
No, I'm talking about the one where we were digging, when we dig the hole.
That's different, different type.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking permanent ones. like-
This one is a rent, whenever we do the thing, we have to rent them because by law, you're required to have the area fenced out when we do certain things, and we always lease them. And it costs quite a bit for lease. Like when we do like.
6,400,
64.
Is that part of the TML stuff?
Which one?
Funding for the APA conferences for myself, Ms. Tammy, for, also.
The ACH?
American Planning Association.
Oh,
PH.
APA.
Yeah.
And that's you and who else?
Me and two others.
And 6411,
So it's contract services, this is the line item that we use for, demolition.
demolition.
Demolition for the house. So as you know, we came before you all to ask for permission to tear down the house. They're estimating about $12,500 per house at this point. We haven't had to use the funds, so that seems to be a great motivator for people to actually do it themselves.
Yeah.
We reckon that we're going to do this. We would like to do that, as Barry said.
Chris,
Is that enough?
you also use these funds when you have to go do a cleanup.
Oh, yes, so in the case we need to abate a property, needed to cut grass, we also can use this funds for that.
So with, all the development and it's a lot of stuff in town, do you foresee this being enough to cover, such situations with, like, you have to go and clean somebody's property because you get complaints or whatever comes up in there?
We haven't, we're probably gonna push up against it and we're starting to get more active with, identification of substandard structures. So that line item could go up, but we'll monitor it and we'll try not to go over it, but we're gonna ask people to get into compliance for sure. We always wanna do that.
6414, I see in 2022, 2023, it was 57,800, and then we jumped from that to budgeting 125.
Yes, that's partly because of the number of projects that are coming in. So the more, and currently we're only using our engineering team for, drainage reviews.
I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
We're only using our, engineering team for reviews for drainage.
Okay.
However, as the projects get more and more complicated, they're going to be beyond the scope of what staff can do, so we're going to ask them to take on more, because we don't have an engineer on staff to.
So, do we think, I mean,
We
we're,
get reimbursed.
okay,
What we do is we have a fee built in for whenever we do any type of civil review. It's a fee that they have to pay in advance. And if they go over the amount that is paid through their application, we invoice them. They are responsible for paying that additional cost. So sometimes you can get someone in and you do a review, they go in and comply. Sometimes it takes 3 times in order for them to get it right. Whenever their engineer is not paying attention to the code to get it right, then we make them pay that money because it's too much to put on, citizens that have to pay for a development engineer who's not compliant.
Is that 6414?
That's,
Yes.
yes, it is.
Let me ask you, what's only 9514
Because that's all we had to pay so far.
so far?
Yes.
do we foresee using 100,000 between now and December?
They said they looked at it and think they may spend it. It's based on how many drawings we get in. We do know we met with the Freedom Trail Development. That's a very large development. We will have to review that if they get it in time. So I hate to say yes, we will, or we won't. It's just based on the middle.
Okay.
The, 6407 dues, fees, and subscriptions. Does this include the subscription service that we had for the drawing thing?
The drawing,
The mapping?
the GIS system. Is that contract service or is it coming out of your subscription? This is gonna be for, where we utilize Kingdom Keys to do updates for our GIS mapping for your Unified Development Code.
That's part of the subscriptions.
It is.
And you also, I believe it's, dues for our memberships, yeah, our licenses and our memberships.
So like the ACA membership for your code enforcement officer license, that comes out of it as well.
I heard you say something about Friday night fights. Is that one of those line items here?
No, it's not a line item specific, it's, we were referencing the other supplies, 6348, why did it increase so much? That's because of the fencing that we're purchasing for the crossroads and for other.
What about the regular Friday food truck? Is that in this thing too?
No,
No.
we don't have no expenditure.
No expenditures?
Can, I guess, maybe to tack this question, can you use those fences for the, okay, so you can use them for more than just Friday night fights? Oh,
That's what you're saying, they're gonna use it for the spirit of Christmas. and
Oh,
everything.
okay.
Yeah.
6458 leases and rentals.
These are rentals, we have a plotter, which gives us a chance to print out big documents.
Big blotter.
Yeah, and then that's just the lease cost for that particular item.
Okay. What's the difference between that and 6540 and 6541?
Well,
The
Are we just not
6541
using those anymore?
Yeah, we're not obsolete.
Okay.
Claims?
Very good.
Oh, we on the public or,
Hey, Councilman. Just we're done.
You wish.
Yeah.
How many,
Employees.
yeah,
21.
21.
we on food maintenance.
yeah, I was like,
I'm like, that is not 21 employees.
How many employees do you have in food maintenance?
Up to.
okay.
I thought she said, oh, I'm sorry.
You're like me.
They want specific,
like-
how many employees do you have?
How many mechanics you got?
I love fish.
They're working for pennies if there's 21 employees out there.
Okay.
Other pay, I'm assuming that's probably overtime for 6116.
No, overtime is, 6105.
Oh.
So do you know what the other pay is? Phone?
Phones in.
Okay. Okay.
Is that phones for two? For the two?
Do I put it on return?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You gotta do.
Big jump in uniforms.
Yeah.
We're actually gonna get rid of uniforms. We've had so much problems with rental. We can't get them to bring their uniform back. We can't get new ones. So it's just been a disaster. So
Always has.
it always has. And we've used, like, this is the fifth company we've tried. And we're trying to get out of contracts so we can just buy shirts and the use.
We actually have a legal team working on getting us out of the contract and things like that.
So this 2,300 is for shirts?
We used to do just shirts and you will get on, for your own jeans. So we're gonna go back to that, and buy shirts.
And 6459 got reduced, if you see, there's nothing there for next, for preliminary, because we moved that 2,000 up to uniform purchase.
Okay. Those are not being rented anymore.
Yeah.
And you moved it up to 63.
Is my math correct that the salaries are an increase of 6.5%?
Or are we adding employee?
Which numbers,
The, 119, yes, the projected versus the preliminary.
No, we actually, we can't go off of projections, because projections, we have a lot of stuff going on, like, for example, we take into consideration if an employee is, out, or, like, what was it?
Yes.
We had an open position
Yes, we do.
for 5.5 months. So projections, she has that in projections where we have the savings, that's why it's 123 to 119.
We just look at 23, 24 versus 24, 25.
And it's still gonna,
The
and it's
total,
still
right?
not, but it's still not gonna
Right.
be
Total budget
3%
versus
because we
the
get
preliminary
everybody's
budget.
salary, hourly
Okay.
rate, and then we do times the 3%, and then that's what
I
it
think I was
is.
right.
So, some of them are gonna be a little bit, yeah, because of the way, these are numbers are gonna be kinda off, but if we have a spreadsheet where you have your column of like what everybody gets paid hourly times the 3%, and then it drops out that number, and then that's what we budget for the new preliminary budget.
And I'm assuming, 6340, that's covering the fuel costs for the whole city? Okay. Because we moved everything out into that fund, okay.
$6508 R&M vehicles, what's the,
That's the aging police cars and fire trucks. It's increasing. The repairs on,
okay.
and a lot of our equipment is aging, it's just costing more.
And what about the repairs and maintenance other on 6512? It's not equipment, it's not vehicles, what are we repairing?
That's, we have a list to lift the vehicles up, that's for, has inspected, that's for businesses to repair.
So I'll ask you the same thing I asked Derek, your vehicles today are okay with them? You're okay with your vehicles today?
Are we okay with vehicles?
With your vehicles that you have?
Yeah.
No. I have a lot of aging vehicles.
They make do because they
We
want
may
raise.
do, we keep parking together and keep going, that's what we do. Yes, we are requesting 2 new vehicles, I need more than that, but that's what we're doing.
6510. Where did we move, where did we create that from that moved, that there was zero activity in 22?
We're at in here, you asking for vehicles. Is that a separate page? Okay. Right, it's not in-
Yeah, It's not under fleet maintenance.
Okay, streets and drainage and this, fleet maintenance, none of that are shared salaries, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so number of employees in streets and drainage.
Hold on one second.
Okay.
We're still on something with the.
What was your question again?
6510,
Uh-huh.
R&M heavy equipment, there was 0 activity in 22-23. And then 23, last year we put in 15,000. What, why was it $0 during 22-23? Was it moved from that?
So a lot of things were cut back from public works budget.
Mhm.
And last year when we came back and we started putting money back in their budget. Is that right, April?
Yes, that line is actually to repair the generators.
Okay, so we didn't repair them last year because we had no money there. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Are we ready to do the street and drainage?
Yes. All right,
How many employees?
7.
street and drainage of 7
Yes.
employees?
7.
I see the increase on 6318, machinery, tools and equipment, from 9,500 to 16,300.
That's another new, mosquito park. Ours is aging, we living by.
6318.
I will say thank you for the logger that you have been using since all the warning that we got. It's been helping.
And we did save 10,000 on street signs.
I did see that. I just assumed we weren't purchasing as many this year because we caught up on some of them. Yeah. Got the word and
So the education and training, it went up. Is that for, what was that?
What it is, correct me if I'm wrong, Murphy, we're talking about education and
education
training.
training.
This is where we have to go and they get training for a certain license, the water, what is this?
Oil streets, right?
Yeah, what is the?
6401.
This is for certification for guys that are flag, certified in flag,
I was okay.
and CDL.
You heard it? For CDL and for, flagging certification.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna back up a little bit. 6348, other supplies. What does that entail?
So that's gonna be, signs, portable signs for us to put out for traffic when we're working on roads, things like that. Cones, barricades, things like that.
Murphy, did you put in here for getting a new shoring device?
That's gonna be in waters.
Okay. Okay.
So are we doing the same thing? So I guess the blanket question, I was actually fixing to ask that. Blanket question, we're gonna do the same thing with the uniforms where we're just going to shirts and their own pants. Okay.
6453, other services, I see an increase of $3,000 on that line item. What does that cover?
You mean 6411?
That's to do more striping,
I'm sorry, say that
to
again.
do more striping on some roads. A lot of residents have come to me that really want the Brown Road striping with the school traffic or coming over in lanes, so we didn't have it, budgeted to do Brown Road, so.
But now it is.
Not yet. I didn't have the funds, I don't have the funds this year.
It's built in here though.
So that's 6453?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is the contracted services at 6411? I noticed there was a,
It's like our to cut trees.
pardon?
To remove trees and things in.
Oh, tree cut
the,
services,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
What did I just see? Okay, 6316, and then you have 6501 listed as traffic, oh, that's traffic signal, right? Or is that traffic
No, it's
sign?
repair and
We don't
maintenance.
have signals.
No, I know, I'm talking about 6501. For traffic. It says repair and maintenance
All
of
that's
traffic
different.
signal.
There's differences. The difference is one's buying the signs and one's buying the equipment, the poles, the brackets, things like that.
Okay. Okay.
The sign is not signal, I believe. Yeah, that's what it is. But it looks like an A there that was called. Okay, down to Parks and Recreation. 6458, $10,000 that wasn't there before.
So this is, we increased this, we had put some new lighting out there at the park about 5 years ago. We already, and Daniels Park, and there's a lot of it out. Now, it's under warranty, but we don't know is, are they just wanting lights, are they wanting to work? We don't know if we're going to rent a lift to do it ourselves. Are they going to supply us the lights? We just don't know.
So, sorry, these are ones at Daniel Park? This is at the base, where they play baseball, not for the other area? Okay. Sorry about that, Marcia, I just, I'm fast for you.
6348, we went from 3,200 in 23 to, oh wow, 37,000 for other supplies.
So we took our bank shot stuff out of that one. The funds are allocated that we had donated in a different account, but we had to take it out of this account to submit it. So we do have those funds, it's just in someone else to do it.
So that 6348 is just bank shot?
The difference in the 2,937 is.
Oh. And then what is the 6512 other, repair and maintenance other, is that just to do park repairs? Okay. Things like replacing basketball nets and
Goals.
goals and, okay.
Repainting over graffiti.
We just got this quote back. I know we just showed me the quote today
Okay,
On what now, I'm sorry?
for lights at Henderson.
so you got the quote?
Yes, I have the quote. Now, this is for a company to do, right? I mean, we can do this in-house. It may take us long. It depends on the council. So put some lighting at Luke Street Park, it's gonna be around 25 to 30.
That's not in this.
That's not in the motion. I just got this back to that.
Can you just, I know you probably don't have the numbers, but can you just speculate on the number of lights and things you're putting out there?
Or it's gonna be 5 poles.
No, I know, but what the electricity cost is gonna be?
Oh, no, sir, I think it's LED, it's not gonna be a whole lot. It's probably like a minimum, it's probably gonna be around $100 a month or less.
Okay.
So is it LED at the, Henderson Park as well?
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay.
Okay, facility maintenance, salary and wages, how many employees?
4. Lorana.
Lorana.
Yeah.
That's right. That's on.
So are we on the wages or nothing, we're doing the same? Cause if the budget is 74,000, or 174, but the projections is 138. Are we getting the same in there?
Yes, we do, the vacancy from, when is the person? Just a couple of months ago. Yeah.
Okay. $63,18, we went from 9,000 to 15,000, which is now we're at 18,000, which isn't much, but how did we go from 19,000? Or, I'm sorry, from 9,000. I hear you over there.
To 18.
18. You were like, did I'm getting my numbers mixed up.
I got this one here.
Okay, 6318. In 2023, 22, 23, we were at 9,000. Then we went to 15,000, and then now we're at 8,000 or 18,000. I'm not sure who I'm asking.
It's the year that everything got cut.
Okay.
So a lot of things from Public Works got cut, and now we're, putting it back.
And what are we purchasing? Is that just like miscellaneous tools and lawnmower? Okay.
All right, I wanna go back. Y'all may have talked, I can't hear, I'm trying to look at some of this stuff while y'all are talking. We started at 94 on the salary and wages on the facility maintenance. And we're at 172 now. We just hired more employees, is that why it jumped so much?
No, they had half a year, they had a vacancy. That's why the projections are so low. They filled that position.
2 vacancies or 1?
He's talking about
You're
from
talking
year
about
4.
22, 23.
Right, I know, I'm just saying it jumped so much, but even at that, projected 174, then it was only 100. And now back to 172, that's why I wondered.
Yeah, we only had 3.
3, for most, for the majority of the time?
Yeah. Our facility maintenance, staff include our custodian that comes to clean up the facility.
Okay. And that's in this group,
Yes.
and they're all full-time? Are y'all fully staffed now?
Do they, is this facility included in the cleaning supplies?
Oh, yes, the
In the
cleaning
supply.
supplies, yes.
Yeah, in the cleaning supplies, that's a big number for bleach.
That's actually the cleaning supplies for the whole city.
City, yeah, okay, fair enough.
It is facility control.
Got you with that. And the electric bill is for the whole city? Yes.
So the license registration is an inspector, that cost increase from
That's
what's
community center, PD, fire, all that, is that?
6406.
That's gonna be our AC. So we had went out, 5 years ago and got new AC controls for all facilities and tried to lower the energy bill. Their fees for the licensing online, controls they were paid for 5 years, but now we've got to take them fees over and throw a can for ourselves.
Is it worth it?
Yes, sir.
And did the big savings for the LED lights that they supposedly installed years ago, they didn't really prove anything? Did we get that savings, or? That would probably more you to know.
Well, we would have to study the.
Because they promised all these big gains, which, I mean, it should because it's LED, but I'm just.
Well, I can tell you, if we had thermostats everywhere for everybody to touch, I think we'd be hardly.
Oh, I can believe it.
What about 6502? What equipment was this? What equipment was purchased, or will be purchased next year? 6502, 6502.
Oh, that's repair and maintenance.
Okay, okay, got it. So,
So that is AC repairs to the PD and fire mostly. I mean, it's the whole city, but, mostly PD and fire.
okay. They like to call it the police department.
It's not sized, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe it was sized, correctly.
Well, it's not what was sized correctly, it's, the AC that was installed there is designed for up north with low humidity. I'll be frank, which is junk. And we're going to, one day, we're going to eat the cost, put a new AC system in both of them.
We talking about fire heat?
We left them off.
It's junk.
I know when we were doing the Citizens Police Academy, we walked outside, we could smell the smell of electrical fire that was coming from one of them that had recently been repaired.
I can't keep current on my basement.
Yeah, the humidity over 72%.
It's crazy, we fight the buildings, I mean, every week we have somebody working, and we can't work on them, you have to have special laptops to work on these things, so.
So how much does it cost to replace it?
So we got a ballpark figure, we have a ballpark figure to change it at the fire station, because that's the one right now, it's to keep us alive. And it's ballpark $150,000.
And how long would that last?
Well, it would be
Based
a
on the-
whole
one that
different
you're
AC
talking-
system.
Yeah, based on the system that's designed for the south down here where it's.
Yeah,
hot.
so as long as it's maintained and cleaned properly, you should get 10 years, 15 years out of the AC system.
Would it be something that you could work on?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Who installed this terrible machine? And where do they live?
Built the building. I warned the city staff, I warned the city
Right.
council prior to building this, and I told them, don't put this in, and I was told that this is my
When
business.
they were building.
I believe it.
Murphy, do you take account for City Hall?
Not yet, no, we still find City Hall, the upstairs.
We have,
We're finding humidity, so we're trying to figure out that one.
Portable.
yeah.
Right now, we have a portable unit to try to keep humidity down upstairs.
It's creating mold.
what?
Yeah.
So what, okay, so what would it cost to, fix that at the city hall where there's mold?
I don't
You
have
haven't-
that, I don't have that number right now.
One at a time, one at a time.
Right?
Did you hear her? Did you see the problem I'm having? I'm letting y'all know, we do have some, like, Mercury, you haven't scheduled yet. to take-
Monday.
Monday, to take the building for mode, because I'm getting complaints from staff. So they will be out Monday to test the building for mode. If it so happens to be mode, we may have to move out of there. I'm
Yes,
trying
that's East
to-
Texas.
I'm trying not to get them excited, because y'all don't know what I go through, trying to calm staff down.
Well, Mo, I take Mo very seriously. I know
do
where
too.
the signs. So that was gonna be my next question. If there is Mo present, because it's a lot of bodies that be in that, you know.
Yes,
And so do y'all have a contingency
I
plan?
do have one.
Okay.
That plan would be we take up this community center. We
Okay.
did it in Baytown when we had that problem and we moved
At
it
least you
there.
get to read, have those offices, on the side, are they available that were, DC used to be?
Yeah.
The
we don't-
Blackner
everything
Energy used to
else,
use.
Yeah.
And we got some on the other side, and we got some on the other side. On the other side.
Yeah, but now, that's the one, 500, yeah, like with the regular, yeah, it's not really,
How are we on, facility maintenance?
Are you here?
Yeah, so if we ready to move.
Well, I'm asking if we're ready to move on, because I want to take a short break.
You want to break now?
Everybody ready?
Are y'all good for facility maintenance?
No more questions?
No, I'm good.
John?
Yeah, good.
All right, 7:17, we're gonna take a
Send it on.
5-minute break. right. I think, we're ready to move on to water and sewer. And how many, employees we have under water and sewer?
12,
12.
and that includes me in April.
Are there any in public works overall, are there any employees whose salaries get split between different parts of public works? Okay.
Have y'all added employees in this?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I got shut the door.
No, we're adding two.
Two employees. So you had 10, now you're at 2.
So we're adding 2 in this next year's budget.
We currently have 12.
Okay.
Yeah, the numbers.
Today.
Today you have 12, so you're adding 2 more. What that mean?
So 25 would be 14. Did I understand that correctly?
The 7,030, just to be clear, the 7,036 includes the 12 they have now plus the 2 that they're wanting to add, correct? Okay, yeah. So it would be, the preliminary budget would be a total of 14 employees.
The way this is done, it's hard to determine what is raises basically versus what is new hires. That's why we're asking, trying to figure out.
So what is the range versus employee? What is on the
$63.45 chemical supplies. What's the difference between that and? What was it? There's called chemical supplies there too.
So this would be, I think, like for the chemicals for the wastewater treatment plant?
No, I understand what they are all for. I'm just wondering, are we doing, I guess, cause they're big numbers, and I know it's for citywide. And in every category, it's pretty large numbers. Are we doing ourselves, because I guess the question boils down to how we're purchasing it. And are we using a specific vendor? If not, is it possible that we use a specific vendor to consolidate and get those prices down?
So this is, Corey, mostly for.
Okay.
90% of this is chemicals for the sewer plant. It's chlorine, it's for water wells, it's for a lot of the sewer disinfected, grease control for lift stations. There's a lot of these.
I understand that. I'm wondering if our due diligence says that we need to look at all of it in one big bucket and then see what everybody's doing and try to consolidate to lower that cost if possible. It may not be possible.
We can definitely look at that and see if that's an option. I don't know if I can find a company that would distribute
Everything that you need.
everything that we used to do.
Okay.
6317. We went from 80,000 in 2023 to 180,000 down to 7,500.
Oh, that's the meters.
That's the meters.
Okay.
So it's different.
Obviously, those meters were moved over to another line.
Yeah.
So-
Yes.
Put that at the bottom.
Yeah, we sit talking about it the other day.
So that was moved to another department. What's the 7,500 left for?
500.
500? Okay. Does this include paint and purple?
We buy them per now.
Oh, got it. I'm just picking on
Do you really? Do you really buy them purple?
Yes, ma'am. Because paint them, you can see the paint coming off them, how tacky they look. but
Is it more
we-
expensive than a red one?
I mean, the council voted to make them purple, that's what we do.
Can we vote
I
again?
would love for them to be
You want
red.
red?
That's not me.
What color is a fire hydrant? If you look in any children's book, a fire hydrant is red.
I would prefer red, but the last council changed it to more.
Can we put that on the agenda?
Honestly, I think safety-wise, red would be easier to see.
Can we get names of who voted?
You can change it. Take it back.
We can't do it today, but.
Yeah, we weren't.
I didn't vote for that. I don't even remember.
One meeting, what you got, Murphy?
Just want to keep in mind, if that's something you are considering, I'll go back to red. I really need to know, like, because I have, developers that we require them to put purple white in.
I like.
So if we're going to change that, I need to know that pretty rapidly, to change our design standards. Okay.
That was like 17, I wasn't on here.
Okay.
We don't care about safety, we like things pretty.
I did not
There.
say that.
So we changed our signs.
I did not say that.
Define specimen
It
of
truly
red.
started off as a Cub Scout or Boy Scout project,
It was?
and that's how it
Boy
started.
Scout project.
Okay.
I remember that.
Are they now maintained?
There.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
We have, 6340 fuel. Why is that not with the other fuel for the whole city?
Because I split it between, general fund and water sewer, because water sewer needs to pay
Okay,
for some stuff.
that makes sense. Okay.
Hey, real quick, going back to that fire hydrant, we don't have to make a vote on it, that's not a voting thing, but if we just let the city manager make a decision what color it should be, I mean, I don't, it's something I can think about.
I think we just leave it the way it is.
Purple?
Leave it the way it is, purple and white. Because at the same time, they also did the street signs, purple and white, and moving away from green, remember? Uh,
6348, other supplies. We've got it budgeted for 10,000, but we've only used 1,500, and we're budgeting again for 10,000.
Projection is stop finishing at 6,000?
Just want to know what it is.
No, well, what it is, but why are we still budgeting for 10,000 when we've only used 1,500 and are only projected to use 6,000?
So we had to buy any this year, battery backups for all our lift stations so far. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. When they die, we have to have them. The heat sometimes kills them, so we haven't really got really hot yet, so it's a possibility that we'll be replacing them before the summer.
Is that all that comes out of that?
Oh, no. Line locating supplies, lab supplies, lift station supplies, test kits.
So a lot come out of that.
Yes, ma'am.
Employee relations, same, Leslie, splitting it between,
No, that's just the water.
okay.
Murphy and April.
6405, we're back with electric again, is that, what is it?
Yeah, we split it between general fund and water sewer.
Okay. So the total city budget is the 373,000 plus the other?
Yes.
Okay,
What does that use mostly at the sewer plant?
What's that?
That electric?
You got lift stations, water wells, sewer plant,
They're like street lights and stuff too.
City.
What about buildings? Every city building?
Not something different, we have it listed on facility maintenance as well.
Yeah, so we break it down based on like location and stuff, general fund and water sewer. So like, of course, the water wells and lift stations and all that gets filtered out of electricity out of here. But then like, city hall is gonna obviously be general fund.
Can you get a list of those?
Yes.
6408, landfill and disposal. I see it's here, and then it's also under fleet maintenance.
so this one here is sludge hauling for sewer plant.
Sludge.
It's
Okay.
all, we could,
Okay.
And we used Frontier Waste contracted for this. It's a nice word for it.
May have it in the backyard. Lab testing fees, I'm assuming that's water test and sewer test.
water.
Do y'all ever price that around to see different labs, how much they cost?
I don't believe so. I don't think there's a whole lot of labs.
Do y'all
We
use
can
these
check.
specs?
We were using two different companies, last year, and then we ended up going with just one company and consolidating all the lab tests with them, because then we're able to do this better rate versus splitting.
Is it East Texas?
Are y'all self-sustaining, this particular budget? You make your own money and you spend it, so the money doesn't come from anywhere else. You're self-sustaining, you're,
Actually, they give money to general.
right, yes, the transfers. But there is no money that gets given to you
No.
from any other part.
So we're just doing that like 2 years ago.
Right, right.
67
Eight,
Ken,
eight, eight.
depreciating expense of 1.6 million to 0.
That's an adjusting journal entry that has to be done at the end of the fiscal year.
Okay.
We
We
have
saw
to
that
depreciate, yeah, we have to depreciate our assets. It can't be, if you buy a vehicle now and it's 50,000, it's not gonna be 50,000 at the end of the 5 years, you have
Right.
to depreciate, so. That's.
Are we not depreciating anything else this year?
No, that's a journal entry that the auditors do for us.
Okay. So y'all are projecting 2.2 million transferred into general fund? And then what is the transfers to other fund, negative 87,000?
That 85, that 2 people or what?
What? Bottom of the page, debt services, and then, go up.
That's what we've got for,
Transfers to other funds.
two skincare stuff. And then actually, that's the same price one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're strict trucks, they're work trucks,
Crew cab?
skincare.
All right, are we good with Murphy?
I'm good, I'm good.
Thank you, sir, appreciate it.
Thank you, Adrian.
All right, Mr. James. wages and salaries. How many employees total?
So I've got, it's kind of split, so I've got one full-time and then mine 72%.
Say that one more time.
So I have one full-time person and then I'm
73%. That's an odd number.
Yeah, we discussed this earlier today or yesterday. The other 27% is for the fiber side.
So how many employees?
One and three quarters.
1.75.
So a quarter of that comes from different. That one person is.
The 6,400, 6,401 went from 5,200 to 7,900.
Yes, there are several of the events that IT has actually never been able to attend. We added a couple of them, Tagayon, which is an IT conference, and several others that some of the actors did that. There's some trainings involved as well.
Computer hardware, 6314.
So that one is, we're entering into a lease agreement for the refresh and replacement of our, not all, but some of our existing, laptops, desktops. And that's the general cost of that on an annual basis.
How long is that lease?
4-year lease.
How many machines?
I believe it's 36, I can go back and, give you the exact, that also includes monitors, docking station. Extended support as well.
After Dell?
I assume the big jump from 22, 23 to 24 total budget for software was because we consolidated everything.
Exactly.
6454 other professional services. Show an increase on that one.
It is, so let me get the exact.
6454.
There's some additional warranty that we're adding on some of our aging servers. The AV system here at the community center, that contract expires, which is a 3-year contract, so it's gonna be another 3-year extending contract. Some additional professional services from a company that does provide us some services, which is Bayrox. And then some of the sign maintenance is also included in that. Sign maintenance primarily being the big one out here at the community center.
So when you talk about the aging servers, do we utilize cloud servers at all?
Not so much, no, not yet. To be honest, I'm pushing back right now, specifically in the area of Tyler or Encode. I don't think they're developed yet enough to handle what we want to get or use them for. So I haven't pushed it out.
Have you looked at alternative companies that are where you need to be?
Yeah, there's a lot of different companies. Dell does it, HPE does it. Right now, I think that transition, we cannot handle that. We don't have the staff for one to make or manage that kind of transition. I think in the long run, that's something that we will definitely be looking at, but not in the next year or two. We're just not ready for that.
So if we did that, then we wouldn't have the cost for the aging physical survey.
That is correct, and I'm in the process of weeding those out of the system as it is, just some of the conversion over from, they're more standalones than they are part of the cluster. So we're moving all of that into the existing cluster that we have. Once that takes place, then we eliminate that hardware altogether. But that's a year plus project.
6402, 2223, we were at 109, and then we went to 73, and now we're budgeting 61.
I can't speak to the 22-23 year. I can tell you it was mostly overkill with some of the mobile devices, communication devices. I did come in and did it pretty quick to help remove a lot of that stuff. And now we're finding that I'm having to add some of it back. Plus, I'm replacing the majority of all the devices that we all need. Some new iPhones, iPads, etc. And that's the reason why it was just a slow. Or student increase, because we're leaning out on unnecessary.
And the other leases and rentals, 6458. What does that cover?
Primarily, I believe that's printers, if I'm not mistaken. So that's supposed to be lease of actual printers or multifunction devices and the actual usage. So the per copy color, etc.
Yes.
So okay. You say the printer lease,
Yes, ma'am.
so it's not part of the 6541 went away and moved here?
I'm assuming it did. I know we did do some transition and changes where we had things placed or
How long is your lease on your printers?
Unfortunately, the previous group signed a 63-month or 65-month lease, a very strange lease. Yes. So we're stuck for several.
Kind of color,
Sorry.
what range?
Sharp. Yeah, the devices are very solid, they're good devices, it's just a very long lease period for that. And I can't explain it.
I can say from personal experience, if those companies against each other, you will get the best rate.
Oh, absolutely. The company we do use, they're actually a very good company. We've never had any issues whatsoever. They're very quick to come and take care of things. That says a little bit, but I would have signed the lease.
On your price for copies, when you color in black and white, you show them what somebody else is offering and they'll get them at you.
And we're paying a pretty high price for like color copies. I think it's either 7.5 or 9.5 hours. It's the same. Now, we are putting in provisions to hopefully eliminate and change the amount of color copies, hopefully
There should be a lockout on it.
there is, but again, I'm still finding a lot of things from the previous group that let a lot of stuff go, and that's definitely
Everybody good on that?
Yes.
Fiber services.
Nothing to do about this, is skip it.
So the, yeah, salaries, so the .20,
fourth quarter.
27.
yeah, .27.
There's currently 2 full-time, Stacy Martin, one of them, Tyler Phillips, does the other. And I'm in the quarter. And we are adding one for this upcoming fiscal.
So it'd be 3.27.
Exactly.
So in about, right now, we have 12, that need to be installed, how much do 12?
Now 13.
And
Tyler can keep up.
Well, not that he just can't keep up, remember he got injured.
Yeah, he's a little guy.
He hasn't got, good. So we trying to find a way of getting, because we don't lose the 12 that we signed up.
So and then in that position, it does help to have an extra body, because it is a very physical portion, and it's surprisingly good.
So this 261, that's 3 full-time, that's just 3
That'll
full-time?
be 3 and a quarter.
Quarter.
Yeah, because a quarter of my salary is paid through the fire.
Yours must be the bulk of that?
Before.
6348. Other supplies, there's quite a bit of a jump.
It is, so keep in mind, just to kind of refresh a little bit, we didn't start dating it back again until October effectively of last year. Prior to that, when budget time came around, there was no, we didn't know what was gonna happen with the budget, so it really wasn't fleshed out the way it should have been, or could have been had we known, right? And because DayNet was shut down, literally everything was gone. When we came back in and started running DayNet, the majority of these types of supplies were gone. Paint, flags, and there is, I will say this, also part of that is gonna be some additional, resident CTE equipment, ONTs, gateways, stuff like that, that we physically put in, new subscribers' home.
Okay.
So that honestly is more of the bulk of this than just simple supply.
New subscriber equipment.
Right.
This money coming out of the bond, or the general? The bond?
Yeah.
All of this, whole,
Yeah, 14 fiber services is all.
So that means we're paying interest on salaries? It's a bond. Borrowed money, right? And there's interest that comes along with that, right?
And until it sustain itself, then there's no other way around.
What's the
And the-
projection
and
of
the
the sustainability?
percentages.
General fund,
Well, yeah, after talking to a couple of companies, they explained to we need at least to have 1,000 connections in order for it to take care of itself.
And how many we got?
Right now, we're at 250.
I mean, I think y'all should run a special and give away free first 3 months or whatever it takes to get 1,000 people on.
So,
But
I've got a lot of conversations.
we have rain special, we talked about doing it again, not necessarily free, because we want to be able to spend some money, but we can do more special. Just have to bring it to you all to approve those specials.
Yeah, we got over 150 more subscribers than we did a year ago.
We did,
Correct. We've increased by 140%. So keep in mind on the specials, when we resurrected DayNet, we started as a special. So we eliminated installation fees, we eliminated deposits. So that, and we also had a reduction for the first 3 months of your subscription or your service. And then after the 3rd month, then you go back up to the standard price. Keeping in mind, with the number that we've installed, I think for the first 3 months, if I'm not mistaken, up through December, we were still using a contractor to do all the installs. And that truly is where a lot of the bulk of the money as far as the installations came from at that time. Since we added a staff member, that, again, keep in mind, it's one guy running the plow, pulling cables, splicing fiber and installing equipment inside a residential unit and or business, we've still been able to put in 140 some odd additional customers. Adding a person, then there's no question we can keep up.
That's what we need, because we've lost the customers, was it one or two?
We've lost, one or two of them because we couldn't hit them fast enough. Now, also, part of the projections, Aaron had asked about projections. It's a very difficult thing to try to project some of this stuff because you just don't know. However, looking at some of the upcoming developments and the number of homes that we actually pass, we're passing about 2,700-ish homes that are actually eligible to get this service.
We have a meeting scheduled with the to do fiber and try to pinpoint a cost for them to run it throughout their subdivision and the type of equipment that we need, the sizes that we need for the fiber. So we have a meeting scheduled with them. One of the things about that, and I was talking about zoning code, we have it specified in there, is that all the development must run the fiber and the conduit for them. So as the development come in, that's one of the things that we're making sure that they do. So it's going to help us reach our number faster.
Well, let's bring it up even higher for you or these other ones. Just ask them to put a little bit into it and say, hey, offer the home buyer 3 months,
Well,
something.
So you're going
Get them on, and then we can try to keep them on.
So you're going down the right path. So I've had those conversations. What we're looking at to do, and we can't tell a home builder that they absolutely have to do things, right? But we can certainly encourage them to do that. Part of that encouragement is as the homes are being built, yes, it's pre-ready to fiber as when we have a shell. So that as a new person buys a home, it's a very simple process.
More likely to connect than to.
We literally just turn the light on and it's done. As opposed to right now, we still have to wait 3 days for the location. We have to do that by law. After the third day, it takes us roughly a day and a half, 2 days during the install process to pull the fiber flat. Then we've got to slice it. So it's about roughly a 5 visiting process. So doing what you're talking about, that eliminates that time.
We've got Gulf County also, because that's one of the things that we've been doing with them. We already have, on the main corridor, the fiber put in down there, and we had an issue, with a contractor, called us and had to go back out, and replace some items, because they went to the road, and it was their line, yeah.
And they didn't pay for that?
For which one?
Oh, the government, when they had the contract.
No, well, there's two different things. So there was a recent project where the actual contractor did pick up the cost to relocate some of our fibers. So they did cover that. I think that was within about 26, right? Now, on the road as well, during some of the initial widening of the road, they did cover up some of the handholds that we had to physically relocate those. We took on that cost. The contractor would not do that. But as far as the subscription accounts, because we've been passed by 2,700 homes, the idea is that's the target that we want to get. We're already there. We're right in front of you. There is no additional construction costs and things like that. So the estimate, and I did send out a report, hopefully you guys got a chance to read it, but the estimate was for this coming year to be at the 750 count. And it just goes exponentially from there. As these additional developments come in, then we'll be acquiring more and more. And I'm not saying we'll get every single one, but we're looking at a 40 to 50% take rate at that point.
What is the amount of people on the fiber that we have now can be on? Unlimited?
Every home.
Unlimited? I mean, because fiber optic cable is only so small or so big.
doesn't, yeah.
It doesn't.
Right now, the way the system is set up, we have enough to do 10,000.
Good.
James, so we gave y'all 12,000 last year, right? And I understand, I heard everything you just said, but you guys are only projected to use 7,000 of that? 23, 24 was 12, and then right now, current, year to date, you've utilized 4671 of that. And then, but your projection is to use 7,000, and I think that 12,000 was supposed to be for like spending 1,000 a month on advertising.
It was, and that is a good question. So a lot of it, so up front, and keeping in mind we had 0 advertising pieces, right? So one of the things that we did is we went out and we purchased, different handout, things like that. But we're also doing Google Analytics and Google Ads and stuff like that. We haven't started doing like Facebook. And I'll be very upfront, the challenge is, the more we advertise, and this is gonna sound absolutely absurd, the more people we get, the further behind we get with what we have. So we're trying to manage the number of requests that we get so that we can ensure that we can deliver what we're requesting.
Okay. So
And it's not, it's a very fine line that we're trying to walk, especially on advertising.
We have full other work that time to help.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to, I track what you're saying. So basically, you kind of purposely not really just put a whole lot into advertising because you don't have the manpower to handle, the influx in numbers.
Yes, ma'am.
Because more people, you're gonna need more buyers.
To an extent, and also keeping in mind the media that we have to do the advertisement, truthfully, it's fairly limited. No longer do we have a radio station. That was a great one. Facebook is actually our primary, but that's the best reach that we have today.
And that's a free service as of right now.
It is currently. Now, we can do paid advertisements.
Yeah.
Bluebonnet is another one that.
Which one?
Bluebonnet.
Oh, yeah.
Your haters,
And, we do, Tyler, bless his heart, he walks around and has no issues hanging out, handing out door. So we're doing some very soft type advertising, but we just haven't made it to that level.
So what are we looking at cost-wise if we were to just go nuts on advertising between now and the end of the year? And we started getting requests, what are we looking at if we have to bring in a temporary employee, like somebody from Robert Half or someone,
Yeah, so.
a contracted employee?
Right, so someone for that, honestly, wouldn't necessarily be on the Robert Half end. Because you're not gonna put somebody from Robert Half on flat.
Right.
Not typically anyway. We're looking more for the field-based technician, a guy that can run equipment, a guy that can pull, fiber, things like that.
Surely there's contractors out there that can do that.
Well, and Kimberly and I were just having this conversation, with the fiber industry as flooded as it is right now, as the amount of money that the government is throwing at it, it's difficult to find anybody to come on board, whether it be contract or otherwise. And the reason why is the work is readily available. So the workforce for us to pull through is very thin. And I'm not saying that we wouldn't or couldn't do that. We've talked about doing that. But I don't know how that's going to impact as far as cost, because we haven't gone down that road yet.
How about training your own?
Well, that's a good question. I don't have anybody.
But you got somebody over there in your team wanna get out of there digging a hole and doing something.
But then
Well, you just have to find some more willing bodies.
So, and that's an outstanding observation, but keep in mind, he's about 50% down.
I totally get it,
But he
but
said it's easier for him to find someone versus.
absolutely. And, oh, by the way, news flash, we got to think about opportunities for employees in the city. to move into different, because they got different interests. And how do we meet that?
Oh, I'm not against it, don't think that.
So,
I'm against
I mean,
it. No.
that's a very strong possibility. I'm not trying to take away from, off
Yeah, I
the
think
table.
we got it.
So
Murphy might want to change jobs.
the reason for me mentioning like Robert Half
Yeah, 5 or 4.
was to bring in someone that could backfill the help desk side, while your guys that are in the office could go out and do the equipment. I thought you had 2 guys on game.
She just.
She is one.
Oh, okay, I thought you had 3.
No,
Okay,
sir.
I'm sorry. You wanna run it back though?
Well, I mean, just to understand her role,
Yeah.
as a business analyst, she's doing beyond that. She built every call. She's her sales, front sales. She's her first line support.
No, I get it. I thought you had 3 and 2 guys, one was doing help.
No, I'd love to have that.
She's wearing many hats.
She's got many hats.
Okay, that explains it, because I was like, are you planning on using the additional 12,000 next year if you hadn't gone through that? But I get it. It's clear.
Okay, I have a question on 6409, the software, the huge increase.
Yeah, I knew you would see that one.
Yeah,
You didn't see that one, I'm gonna.
from 60,000 to 225,000.
Yes, so in inception, when the software was purchased, it was purchased 3 years at a time. We just ended 3 years, surprisingly. Now we've got the next 3 years of licensing that was purchased.
So this is a single purchase that's amortized
It's
over
not,
3 years.
no, it's not single, it's spread between different software, different licenses.
Right, but what I'm saying is you're only making this $200,000 purchase once
This
every
year.
3 years.
That's not 100% correct. Let me get to my software.
Looks like it's 225 one time and then 50, 50, 50, and then the 225 and 50, 50, 50.
Yes, so I mean, just to give you an idea, one portion of the software that we use, in Calyx is the software that's the CD equipment that we put in resident and what we have in the racks in our hub.
And then, we're staying with that?
We are. You guys want?
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Did we talk about 6348? I got a bunch of notes here. The other supplies where it
Yes,
jumped from.
new subscriber equipment.
Okay, got it. Just want to get my notes right.
So to answer the question is it's a 3-year contract, but it's billed each year individually or annually for 3 years. And for the Calyx, as just a simple example, I have 3 different software specific to them that have, 9,600 each year 3 times.
Isn't Calyx one of the most expensive out there?
I can't contest that. They are. They're also one of the top tier. We have very low problems with the software hardware. And again, that's what we need, with the number of staff that can actually go out and take care of it.
So I guess I'm a little confused.
Cisco licensing alone, $70,000.
Yeah. So
Which we didn't have
what you're
that.
saying, every 3 years you have a whole slew of stuff you
Yes,
gotta
sir.
purchase.
That's correct.
But you said that they're also billing you yearly?
Yeah, so to give you an example, and I'll go back to Calyx, I have a 3-year contract at $96.60 per year. That's 3 times. I have 3 different pieces of software.
But you're paying for all 3 years at one time?
No, sir, 1 year at a time. So
Okay.
$96.60 a year for one piece of software, $96.60 a year for another piece of software, and so forth, for 3 years. Right, so that's 27,000 just there.
Yeah.
This year we got licenses for Cisco for $70,000. That's gonna be one time. We won't repeat that for another 4 or 5 years. Is it 3 years? Yeah.
So
I guess my question,
Go ahead, man,
one second.
go ahead.
Of the 225,000, how much of that's gonna come back in 25, 26?
160. Oh, I got it backwards, so, about 63 grand.
So then the next, it would be,
Well,
so
it
you had,
should-
yeah,
it
like,
should
so
be
every 3
considerable.
years, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm asking, okay. Okay, sorry, go ahead, Eric.
Are we fighting a losing battle? Because we're competing against the AT&Ts, Verizons, or whoever else out there that
Yeah,
does
I
fight.
love
We've
that
had that
question.
discussion.
Look,
I switched
I love that question.
Switch to,
to Diana.
The reason that's a good question is you wouldn't believe the number of people just from this past hurricane that's called up that said, I'm done.
I'm done with
Xfinity.
whoever else out there.
AT&T. And also, look at this, the value that we provide, all we charge for is the service. We don't charge tax, we don't charge rental, we don't put you in a contract, and our rates are much less.
Yeah, but it's not paying for itself.
So,
It's
so,
struggling.
Well, and again, and I wanna address Harry's statement of it, it's struggling. It was only up and running for about 6 months, right? And then it was shut down for over a year. And then we revised it, and it's only been up again for another 9 months. Now, I think the take rate that we get now, I would say anybody that calls in, we have about a 75 to 80% pay. That is huge.
75 to 80% what?
Take rate, meaning that they
Yeah.
go with the service. And the others that do not, typically it's because they're in a contract with Xfinity or they're in a contract with AT&T. But, so we're waiting for those to start falling off.
so,
So are we behind the power or the curve? Absolutely. But as we continue to progress, that curve is gonna get smaller and smaller.
So, I think that this question came up last year, and I kind of want to see what the answer is, if it stayed the same this year. As we are trying, now I understand with the new subdivisions and things like that, how it's going to be installed, but as we are, I guess, initially, phase 1 and phase 2 seem to be very different from what they are now. So can you kind of explain what phase 1 is now and what phase 2 is and what the plan is to move into phase 2?
Phase 2, realistically, phase 2 is more geared towards developers that are outside of our current ring. That's what phase 2 is. Phase 2 is not what it was whenever Magellan initially.
Right, because it was like way out to Kennefic.
Oh, it was to me,
Yeah.
and that would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
But that is not phase 2. Phase 2 now is addressing those that are outside of our current ring that we do support.
So as we start to address those, in order to help shave cost, are we still planning on doing the underground install, or are we doing overhead?
We're gonna do underground as long as we can. Case in point, look what happened a week ago.
No, I mean, I get it, but the cost difference between
So
burying
there's
it-
a trade-off, and you would think that the cost is that vast, but it's really not. You still have, think of it this way, you still have trucks, you still have equipment, you still have to lease poles. We don't have poles that we own, so we'll have to lease anything that we hang on. So there's that cost. Then you have the cost of a limb crashing through and taking out fiber. And it happens, there's squirrels, good Lord. We paid 15 grand to have fiber replaced with City Hall because squirrels chew through the fiber. That's gonna happen. That doesn't happen as often as it.
So are we in a better position now as we are trying to extend the ring? Are we in a better position now of knowing where, like, our force mains are, where our sewer mains are, where, you know, the gas lines are? Are we gonna still continue to pop those and have issues?
So to be fair, we actually haven't hit anything since the construction. So keep in mind, the construction Obviously, we hit stuff and occasionally we knew right away. But for example, your case, you didn't know,
Yeah.
right? We didn't
No,
know
I'm
until
talking
2
about like
years
more
later.
along the lines of where these mains are on the roads
Sure.
and things like that.
So I think anytime that we're doing any kind of new construction that going forward, then we'll certainly have the upper hand knowing where that is. I think with the direction that we have in Public Works, and what we have in our staff, we're more capable of finding that stuff.
Well, you have to keep in mind on this too, it depends on how good they do the locating. For things we don't have control over, like for instance, gas, it really does depend on that company knowing where things are located and actually go out and do the 811 when they get it and locate it. I think that's the biggest problem for me, not knowing exactly where things are located.
Right. And that was my question.
Yeah, so it's still a possibility, to hit things. We could hit gas, look like, often lately.
Cause it was like during the construction, man, it was like almost every week you were seeing issues in the city and it was water drops
Yeah.
and.
Yes, so those were contractors, of course, that was doing that. That wasn't the city of Dayton specifically, but
Nobody was watching them.
yeah, I think, and I certainly do not want to go backwards and say they should have done this, they could have done this, why did they do that? Because we be here all day and I'm not being happy to talk about it.
I don't want to do.
But, those are the things that were out of our control. I think going forward, at least from our perspective, and just to give you an idea, on a locate basis, it's required to do a locate for any kind of digging that you do. We probably get over 100 tickets a week, literally a week, of what's going on in the community in the city. And I would guess, and Stacy is more on the pulse of this, but I would say probably 50% of those are legitimate for, at least for data. Now, unfortunately, for Public Works, I think that number is higher. But we're still, every day seeing a flood of tickets coming in, and that takes time as well. We did purchase some new locate equipment, which has helped us, so we don't have to rely on some older stuff that really didn't work that well. But I think going forward, you'll see less and less, at least from us. Now, I can't speak for a contractor, anything outside of us. But I think for us, that will start going away, or at least be highly reduced.
So one last question, and it's
I'll hold you to it.
probably not in this budget.
I never do that. I never do that.
But, the cost to move the fiber for, UP. So where are we, for the overhead, where are we at on that? And is that something that's coming out of general fund this year, or where
We
is
didn't
that?
have to take it where we could find it, to be honest with you, we don't know the cost yet. I do know they went out for permit when we talked to them yesterday. They were still waiting to get back on the permit. But we're gonna have to find the money, we're probably gonna take this out of the CFP. But we don't know yet.
Do we have a ballpark?
We don't.
15,000,
I got to know where
20,000?
I got to know where I can put it.
4,000?
Crazy.
5,000?
No, probably more, probably because we had about 100.
I would say that's.
And that's one of the main fiber lines on that side.
That's what I meant.
So the importance of that line is Gulf Inlet.
Okay.
That's when we repeated it with Gulf Inlet.
And I'm assuming that contractor put that one in for us.
The original.
They did.
Yeah.
But it's really, they didn't know that overpass was gonna be there. And, because I would think, you would have said, okay, let's go ahead and buy some right away. We would have had to be purchasing right away.
Yeah.
To install it.
Okay.
Yeah, that project impacts AT&T and everybody else that runs down there as well.
Right.
Okay, speaking of contractors, 6411 contracted services. I show an increase from 102,000 to 138,000 for next year.
102 from, yes.
And what contracted services are we using to cost that?
So that's our circuit, our two circuits, our primary and secondary circuit. It's also,
Is that Capcom and Mont Bellevue? Is that what those are?
yeah.
I read the report.
Yeah. Now I did, and for this year, I did increase our bandwidth for both our primary and secondary. The cost wasn't that much, for each one, so it didn't make sense not to increase the bandwidth.
Have we looked at Cogent price-wise on the primary?
Yes, I'm using them back, I'm gonna remove our secondary and use Cogent as our secondary.
Okay.
Starting in February.
Okay.
And we have it set up now, all that stuff switches over without having a problem?
So, this was the primary problem that we had for about 22 hours during the hurricane. And I have worked with that, and I don't know, Josh probably gets this and Mark gets it, but. So, part of our problem was both of our providers were advertising our service. So whenever we lost our primary, everything was stuck. And when we did fell over, traffic just wasn't getting past our secondary. And that's because they didn't know where to go. So our primary just yesterday released that hole in our subnet. I haven't had a chance to test it.
Stay on top of it, I mean, that's a major thing.
Oh, absolutely. Trust me, I get it.
I'm gonna jump on the second page here, 6603,
Yeah, you are right, that, we don't know exactly what.
550,000?
But we are right. That's good, that's hiring, that's a hiring contractor for.
That's
a run out,
Yeah.
the fiber out to there? Okay.
And
So
does
how
that
many
come
we have
back
to
in
have to get
revenue,
that money?
Leslie? Is that coming back in revenue from them paying to do that?
This is what, no, this is what to get to them, not the internal. They
So-
got to do the internal, but from where we stop, we got to get.
So we're getting from the city hall to them.
So
Is what the
essentially, so there's actually more than DR work in it. So that includes, every apartment complex that we have in the city, every housing complex that we have in the city. We go past them, we just don't penetrate into them. So that's part of what we need leverage to use to get into, those groups. And we're looking at just the apartments alone, we're looking at around 300 to 350 people waiting to get our service.
So as we're running down 1960, are we looking to pick up businesses and things like that 1,000 feet off of each side of the road?
So the intent, we're not just doing a direct shot to DR Horton and not spidering the finger
Yeah.
off. The intent is we'll have a fat enough pipe or enough fiber that in the event that somebody on the north side of 1960, which the expectation is that there will be several, that we can peel off and provide service to those groups as well.
Right, and that's what I was asking. That's what I was asking. Okay.
Absolutely. And realistically, the intent is to go past the airport and that is that.
Which is really working like that.
That four corner, which that.
Alrighty, anybody have any more questions? Except for Sarah?
Oh, you kind of help Jennifer right quick.
All right.
Anybody have any more questions or we good?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned second, we are adjourned.
Really?